So I'm just going to get started. Thank you guys so much for joining today. My name is Adi Advensky. I am from GoGuardian. I just wanted to take a little time to share some information about what we're about to head into today. And if there's anything that you need, I've muted everyone just because obviously with the sheer number of people on, it could be noisy and distracting. But if you need anything, feel free to unmute yourself or chat in, and we'll answer as many questions as we can on this call. After this call, we will send you some slides as well as the recording. So we should hopefully get everybody that has any questions answered and taken care of then. So I'm
Actually,
gonna,
Addie,
yeah,
do you mind we'll stay just a moment?
yeah,
Okay. So welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. We have released GoGuardian to all of the schools just for the time that we have this closure to give you an opportunity to kind of stay in touch with what's happening with your students while they're at home. We know that it's one of your big concerns to make sure that they're staying safe, but also that they're getting the instruction that we want them to receive. So today, Adi is going to show you how you can use this one tool to both see what sort of instructional activities your students are doing in the types of websites that they're visiting, but it'll also give us a chance to monitor if there are some unsafe activities that are going on the computers while the students are using them at home, in case that we need to follow up and again, make sure that our student safety is one of our biggest priorities. So she's going to walk you through how to use the tool for both of those. We also know that at the secondary level, you have a lot of support in your building from your assistant principals. And we did limit today's session to just one designee from your school, just to space limitations. If there are other people in your building that after you hear the session, you would like to have support to, we can definitely include them. There will be a recording of this so they can still learn the same thing you're learning. It was just for the sake of today's live session, we need to limit the number of people here. So I'm going to turn it over to Adi now. I just wanted to give you a little bit of space for where we are in Prince George's County with all of this.
perfect. Thank you. So I'm just in the interest of time, I'm going to hop into our product, GoGuardian Admin. GoGuardian Admin is a filtering and monitoring tool. Like Megan mentioned, you are being filtered, your students, not you, your students are being filtered currently using GoGuardian Admin. It is mirroring the filter that you currently have in place when you're on premises on school grounds. So nothing crazy should be happening, nothing like majorly different. But if there are questions about that, we can handle that as well. So you should have it should feel the same other than the access possibly that you're going to have to GoGuardian Admin. This is GoGuardian Admin. What you're going to have access to is the ability to see everything that's going on. So here's our dashboard. And I'm just going to start over here and give you some information. I'm going to go pretty quickly. Again, there's a recording and I can send you some follow-up information. The first thing that you'll notice right here is the top websites that have been visited. This is going to show the top websites that are being visited by your school building. So you'll have the ability to see over the period of time, so you can change the date range. So if I say like I want to see over the last 14 days, what are the top websites being visited by my students, you can actually see that right here. It'll tell you the percentage of time they've spent on each site. To the right, you'll notice that there's top websites that are being viewed. If you want to get a little bit of more information, really helpful actually, you can go in and click on the website, on the video link, and it'll tell you not only the URL, obviously, of what they're watching, but also the activity chart. So if this is not school-based, right, if this is not education-based, and you're seeing a lot of activity on a Thursday, you might want to do something about it. But if it's something that's happening over the weekend, especially that students are home now, you might say, okay, that's not a big deal. And so you'll use this activity chart to kind of see when people are accessing whatever it is are your top videos. The other thing that's important to see is your top viewers, because what you'll notice is sometimes one student might be viewing the same content over and over again, and it kind of skews the data. So sometimes you'll see that the same student watches the same video 100 times and all the other students watched it once or twice. So there may not be a problem with it. It may just be something that you need to deal with the student. So you can kind of dive deep and you can get more information on exactly who's viewed the video just by clicking in to see that. So that is your top videos. Top searches, same thing. So these are the top searches that are being made by the students in your building. Top documents, same thing. You're going to see the top hits on how many documents students are using. And then top apps, what apps most students are using. In here, you'll also see the activity timeline. And let me just see here. I want to just change this view here. So let's say over the last month, I want to see how active students have been. It'll give you all information, how many sites have been visited over that time, how many blocked attempts, how much flagged activity, and how many YouTube views were on during that period of time. To the left, you'll see our located devices. So when a student is on a Chromebook, so a district issued Chromebook, the district has the ability to hopefully recover the device should it go missing or is stolen. So you'll be able to see screenshots and you don't have to do much except, if you want to see something, see screenshots once it goes into missing devices OU, and then also see geolocation to hopefully get it back. And then here you'll see the flagged students. So these are the students that are getting into the most trouble likely. So you can click in if you want to see a report of what they're up to. You'll just go right here and you'll see all of their browsing activity. From the looks of this, it doesn't necessarily look like much, like you're not sure what they did on YouTube from here. But if you go right here and click right here, you'll be able to click out and see exactly what page they're on. So it looks like they're watching a One Direction video. So it gives you a little bit more information on their browsing history, not just the base URL. If you want to, you can also, if you're looking for something specific, you're looking for just the searches that they've been making or any blocked sites that they've been getting to, you can just cut that data this way and just pull down only what you're looking for. So you're just filtering out what you don't want to see. So if you're just looking for a specific thing here, you can do that right here. And you'll see these are all the blocked sites that they got to or tried to get to. On the right, what you'll notice is just a visualization of what they've been up to. So it looks like they might be getting to a lot of blocked attempts. You see right here. So you might go in and search what has been blocked. Looks like we might have a question. So, oh, great question. So the question is this for a student who's using a district device or personal devices as well? As long as the students are logged in to the district domain and are on Chrome, it will catch everything that they're doing. So they'd have to be logged. And if they're logged into the domain, then they'd be likely on Chrome because it's Google. So then it would catch everything. Good question. Thank you. So you'll be able to see up here also top content for a particular student. So the top videos that they're watching, the top documents that they're on, and then the top websites that they're viewing. Like we have another question. Yes, thank you. And then you'll notice that you have the ability to export this data. So if you needed to share it with someone, you can download it and share it either in a PDF or a CSV file and share the document that follows. Gives you all the students' information, their last IP address, what OU they belong to, their email address, and their name. Let me just hop back to the dashboard. And you can obviously pull this data for a month, but you actually can pull it for up to 6 months at a time. So should you want to, you can do that as well. How will they log into the district domain from home? Okay. Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to hop over. Maybe Megan, if you want to answer some of these questions while I'm going, so we don't get too sidetracked, we'll do that, or I'll stop at the end and I'll answer some questions.
Yeah, I'll take the ones that I can do, and the ones I can't, I'll turn over to you.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. So in addition to just seeing flag students, you actually can also see all students. So if you click right here, you'll be able to see all of the students while they're online. You can see the most flag students here as well. The most sites, the students that are viewed, accessing the most websites in this order, and then just a directory of A to Z for every student. If you want to, you can also search for a student up here. So this is an active search. You'll see that if I choose any student, it's going to give me information up to the minute. So 2:43, yeah. So up to the minute, where they are, what they're doing, and you can click in the same way. So this is just all the things that you can view so far on the dashboard and the different ways that you can hop into it. Right here, what you're going to notice is our smart alerts. The smart alerts are really a safety net, if you will. So our filter is just like every other filter where your district administrators are able to block keywords, block specific URLs, block full categories. But the smart alert, through AI and machine learning, our machines are constantly scanning the pages that the students are on. If it gets to something that is of explicit nature, our machines are going to depending on how it's set up, but I'll talk to you about that. They'll be able to block the content for that student and any student beyond that student in real time to make sure that they're not getting to explicit content that might have sometimes fallen through the cracks. URLs are constantly being built. Sometimes it's just a chat that the student is on, or a forum that the student is on. If they access something that is explicit, it will then get blocked. Assuming that the machine is pretty comfortable that it is explicit. I'm not going to go too deep into this because there's obviously some inappropriate language on here, but when you get to a smart alert, and so let me just hop back here so you can actually see here. Let me go back for 1 second because I think I might have clicked into that a little too fast. So when I get to my, there we go. When I get to my dashboard and I see a smart alert, I'll be able to click right here onto the actual alert. It'll tell me how long ago the alert came through. If you are assigned to that OU, you will get an email as well, but it'll also always sit on your dashboard. And then you'll get a little bit of information so that it's not just a URL or not just a picture of what the student accessed. You're going to understand the behavior of how they got there, really just to understand how to handle it. Did they access it by mistake? They went to YouTube and clicked on something and then got to something inappropriate? Or did they intentionally go there and then go there multiple times? So right here you'll see, and it's going to give you information about approximately if they were on 5 minutes before that alert came through right here, and then 5 minutes after if they stay on. So you'll see where they navigated. They started at Gmail, it looks like, and then they did a search, and then they watched something on YouTube, then they went to Facebook, and then it looks like they were on a message board or a forum, and that's where something explicit came to be. Once they did that at 1:21 a.m., they went to a Google Sheet, and you can see through, right? So they went, and then they got to something blocked, went to Facebook. So you might say, okay, well, this might have been a mistake. We'll see how this is handled, right? But what you'll also notice is that you have the ability to go to related alerts. If you're not sure if Morgan has ever gotten into trouble before, you can click onto related alerts and see, okay, it looks like Morgan may be getting to explicit content. This is not the first time. And you can click in to see exactly what it is to review it if you wanted to. For our purposes today, we're not going to, but you can go in and see what the alerts are. But so you see, like, this isn't the first time this has happened. So March 12th, March 11th, March 5th, March 2nd, as far back as February 4th, she is accessing explicit content. So it'll help you to decide how you're going to handle that alert. This one, so on the right-hand side, it'll tell you the level of confidence that the machine feels that this is something that is explicit. The machine has 3 levels of confidence. There's medium, high, and very high. Medium means that the machine feels with 50% confidence that this is something explicit. High is 70%, and then very high is 90% confidence. When the machine feels with 90% confidence that something is explicit, you can be sure that the content's being blocked. I believe also at high, at 70%, that the content is being blocked for that student and every student beyond that student in real time. So you don't have to worry. In some cases, they might get a message that's emailed to them at the same time, or comes up on their screen that lets them know they may have accessed something inappropriate, and that's not okay. But it will also be blocked for something that is definitely explicit. It'll give you a little bit more information, like a date, time stamp, who else has viewed this. As soon as you click into it, it is automatically going to show that has been viewed by you. There's no way to change that. You'll get the student information, so their name, their email address, the OU they're associated with, and then you'll be able to print out the alert with or without a screenshot through a PDF. So you'll be able to generate that. Megan, if there are questions that you want me to stop and ask for, just hop in, because I'm not checking the chat for now.
Okay, yes, there are a few that I couldn't address.
Okay, let's.
So one was, does the system flag the students or do the administrators flag the students?
So in this case, the system is going to flag the students. The administrators don't have to do anything. It's all AI machine learning.
And does the AI evaluate pictures or just the text on the web pages? I think you covered that, but I was.
Yeah, both. Yeah, it covers both. Yeah.
Okay. Student privacy concerns. I will say we are only monitoring Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 4 p.m., which we know is a little bit outside of school hours, but we had to set one time frame for the whole district. So we're trying to keep this during the time that we would normally be with students. But Adi, are students notified that they're being monitored?
So the two extensions pop up there. So, and the students will know that it's there. I have to double check for you. I don't want to lie to you. I think on GoGuardian Teacher, they get a little pop-up that notifies. I believe the same thing happens as soon as they log into Chrome. There'll be a little pop-up that shows them that they're being filtered and monitored. But for privacy purposes, for the district purposes, you must filter on your devices. And so that's part of like the acceptable use policy. So we follow strict guidelines, and I can send you our privacy information. We don't share anything. Megan, you were on a call, I think, when I got in trouble for taking this. I don't have access to anything. This is a fake site, obviously. So we are really strict about privacy, but I can, with this video, the recording, and anything else that we share, I will share our privacy policy as well. Other questions?
Okay. And there's just some concern about making sure parents and students are aware. So I think as we put together parent documentation regarding all of our tools, then GoGuardian, I believe, is already listed in there. So we'll make sure when you get the resources to other things that we indicate where that information is for parents so that they're aware.
Yeah, we can help you if you need with like acceptable use policy and all that sort of stuff. So we have all that. Not a problem. Great questions. Anything else?
No, I think some of them are repeats. I'll try to deal with them and then I'll jump back in later if I need some help.
Sounds good. Down here, while we're on this page, this is on every page. You'll notice that it says questions, we're online. This is our live support chat tech team. This is our office in California. I happen to live in New Jersey. Everybody else in the company is out in California. So they are always on to answer any questions. This certain team, it's a small group, can go in and ghost in behind to see what's going on. If you have a question about something that's going on, and they can support you and walk you through any issues that you have in real time on your page. I am always going to be around to support big picture GoGuardian, but I can't go into your district or OUs to see what's going on your dashboard. So this would be the place, and they have a 6-second answer time, so you can be assured that they're going to respond to you very, very quickly. If you come to me, I have to go to them too, but it actually takes longer because they have to help our customers first. So my recommendation always is, if you can, just hop into our live chat and they will support you as needed. I'm going to hop back out here and just go back to the dashboard here for you. Go to reporting. Give me 1 second there. So that was our smart alerts. That's that that's safety that we have in place. On right here on the left is the number of students that you have on currently, and you'll notice that there were lines that went through it. That is, and up to them, it changes every minute. So every minute you're going to see the lines go through. It's going to tell you how many students are online and how many classrooms are being run if you're using GoGuardian Teacher, and we'll talk about that later. Um, Let me just hop through, make sure that I'm not missing anything here. So these are, this is actually kind of interesting. People really like to see this. So this is just the activity that's going on currently in your OU, in your group, in your subgroup of students. So you'll see what students are up to. So where, this student attempted to go to pogo.com. So you'll see the actual URLs in real time. Were they able to view it or block it, who the student was, what category of URL they were accessing or attempting to access. You'll also be able to see what videos people are watching. So besides the top 5 or whatever videos that you saw on that dashboard, you can actually hop in and see right now what are people watching. Forget about, if you're saying, okay, it's 8 a.m. and they should be all watching. In my kids' district, they are supposed to watch like a morning message every other day, and with the pledge and all that stuff. And if you look at 8 a.m. when everybody's supposed to be watching it and you're seeing all of this, well, then you have a good idea that maybe the students aren't on task, right? But otherwise, you can just kind of see what the students are looking at. Is it something that's district specific or not? You can also check out their searches, so what they're searching, what they're looking at online to find out if there's anything that you might need to help them with. And then also the documents that the students are currently on. So maybe they're all on the same document because, their teachers working with them on something on a Google Doc and they're sharing all that sort of information. So you'll have that activity to see as well. I think I showed you guys this already. So this was that who's online and when, and you can click into it to get that full report. You'll also see flagged activities. So some of this is pre-populated. However, you can add your own words in, but just words that you may want to keep note of if students are searching or typing in documents anywhere the machine's scanning to see. You can set it up. Well, you would have to ask actually because we're read only. In this position, but you could ask to be notified for high and severe flagged words if it's something that you wanted to do, and then you would receive an alert for it. We went through theft recovery. I'll show you on the filtering side of things, just so you have an idea of what it looks like. And this is not your policies. Obviously, these are fake GoGuardian ones, but you have the ability, and this is one of the reasons why you're not going to be monitoring after school. You have the ability to change the rules, change the policies at home versus at school, and we do that through school hours in this case, and that's why we will not be monitoring after certain hours and before certain hours. If you want to check out your policies, yours will not look like this. It's likely there'll just be one like district-wide policy or school-wide policy, but you would just click into the policy. You do not have the ability to change anything, but if you're not sure if something's blocked or you want it to be blocked or whatever, you can go in and you could check any whitelisting, blacklisting here, full categories, whether something is blocked by, on a full category or not, or subcategories. So like it looks like the gray means it's a subcategory, the green means it's a go, you're allowed to go to these, red means that it's completely blocked. But if it's a subcategory, you'll notice that here, educational games are blocked and everything else is wide open. You can see that. You can also check the YouTube policies if you guys allow YouTube. You have the ability at the district level to block things with an age restriction and things and live chat and all of that sort of stuff. So you can see what the policies are if it's something you're interested in. You can also see apps and extensions. Again, this isn't something that you can change, but you can definitely view. One of the ways to test out if you're not sure, rather than going through and looking through policies, is actually really helpful. So it's called a simulator, and you have the ability to test out to see if a page is blocked or not, or if you're trying to assign, if your teachers are trying to assign something and they're having a problem, or if you're not sure if something's blocked, you can actually go in and type in a URL and then select the OU that you're going to run it on. So if it's your school, obviously you would just select your school and then you click run simulation. When you run the simulation, it's going to tell you what the rules are at school and at home. So at school for you guys is going to be 6 a.m. to 4 p.m., I believe. And then at home is going to be, 4 p.m. to 5:59 a.m. So you'll see that it looks like for some reason on this group, we're allowing them to access Facebook all the time. So, sometimes it'll show red on one and green on the other. So it's a great place to check to see what the policies are for a specific URL if you have questions about that. Megan, how are we doing on questions?
There was a question. Sorry, I have a lot of things going on here.
No, sorry.
So this one was, so the actual inappropriate material will show up on my computer when I open GoGuardian to monitor student usage. So if you could speak to that and the fact that it's logged when somebody views it.
Yep. I'll definitely do that. So when a smart alert comes out, there are two things. You will receive an email alert if there's something that happens. But if you are not designated and assigned to that OU because you choose not to, because you don't want one more thing getting emailed to you and you have two other people that are assigned to it, you on your dashboard, you will still be able to see it. So you'll get an email as it happens. It takes about 8 minutes to get the email, everything sent through. You will then be able to access it from the email, or when you log into your dashboard, it is going to sit here. You'll see I have 51,453 active alerts that I have not gone through. I can click on it from here and see the same exact data. And again, I mentioned this before, but as soon as you click that, right here, it says viewed and it has my name and Weston's name and all these are the people that have viewed it. You don't have a choice. It's going to show that you viewed it, whether you want to or not. So just keep that in mind as soon as it's viewed. If somebody wants to, they can also, say took care of this one. And then let a message for everybody else so nobody else has to deal with it. Now they know my comment is posted because it's assigned to other people. But it's always going to show up. Does that answer the question? Yeah.
Well, I think the concern might also be making sure that it's not downloading to their computer or registering that they're looking at those. So it's all sort of within the system. So it's not going to look as if the administrators are looking at those things.
Nope. Everything is going to sit in the system. And to be quite honest, in this case, it's just words. Let me just find a different alert for you guys. So I don't want to show anything too crazy here. Well, hold on one second. Let me go back here. You don't have to click into it at all, meaning you don't have to actually see the visuals of some of these. You'll be able to tell just by here. So if you see just by the website actually on this one, right? Oh, maybe you can't really see the actual website here. Oh, yeah. Hold on one second. If I click into it. So you'll see right here, just by the website, you probably know that it's explicit. You don't need to click in and see the picture and see it even further where it will pop up on your screen. It just means that you viewed the alert. It's not going to download to your computer. It's not going to save as if you're watching any sort of inappropriate content. Yeah. Other questions?
There was another question about what happens when principals see inappropriate content, not necessarily the computer, but the actions for the students. And I will say that we have reached out to find out what the expected protocol is for everybody. We are still waiting for that response on what your exact next steps are when you see something inappropriate. But I would at this point, follow kind of the same thing that you're already doing in your buildings when you discover that students are using technology inappropriately, or you discover something that's of concern for the student safety. But as soon as we have more guidance, we'll make sure that is shared with you as well.
Anything else? Okay. The other thing to notice, sorry, was there something else, Megan?
No, because I think those are the big ones for now.
Okay. You'll notice here, and this is telling, the alert here has very high confidence. And so what that means again is that the machine feels with 90% confidence that this is something explicit. That's basically all you need to know, right? You don't really need to go in and check on any further because it's pretty sure that it's explicit. So now it's just kind of how we handle it. And then you could see that it looks like, they went to YouTube after that, and then they went back. This just shows that they went back and it was blocked. Do you see how it says blocked? So they went back exactly to here after they went to YouTube, and then they got blocked, and then it got blocked. So they're probably trying to access it again after, but our machines have already blocked it for them. If it's something that's of medium confidence, which is 50% confidence, it may not be explicit. And then it also, just keep in mind, we don't have it set up. Your district has not set it up to block something that is medium confidence, just because many times it's obviously 50% of the time it's not explicit. So then you may want to hop in and check and see exactly what it is. Other questions, feel free to chat in or even, open up your mic while I'm hopping back to this dashboard to make sure we didn't miss anything here. Okay.
I think a quick
Yeah.
one is just, can you message students while they're actually accessing the unauthorized? So if you're in there and you happen to see a student doing something inappropriate, can you message them as the administrator?
Great question. So from here, you cannot message the student like in an email setting. However, we can set up in that trigger, it's called, for the smart alert. You can actually set it up so that it does message the student. It will be a blanket message which every student will receive. So let's just say, I'll just kind of show you. See, it says message student, and so you can say, here, this one says this may or may not be inappropriate, but we took a screenshot just in case. This is a reminder that this is a school issued device. You can have it say whatever you want. Again, this would be something that you'd have to request. I don't think that you have the ability to change it, to edit this, but it's something that we can definitely talk about and have automatically the students receive an email that says that in real time. But it's not going to be an email system from here. On the GoGuardian teacher side, which we'll talk about in a minute or two, you can chat with the student, but that would be for teachers and really not so much administrators. Other questions, Megan?
Not at this time.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Let's just make sure that we didn't miss anything on this dashboard that you might want to see. I want to just see one more thing. There is something called a penalty box. If you find that a student is accessing material they shouldn't be accessing. Obviously, these days you can't even take a device away, but when you're at school, you could take a device away, but it doesn't really help the teacher or the students around that student or even that student learn. So not something that you can actually add in, but you can request that the student be added into the penalty box. And basically what it does is it shuts down their device within about 10 minutes of being entered into the penalty box. They will not be able to access anything except the allowed websites that are on the right side, right? So it's usually just education-based websites. And that penalty box is really meant to be for a short-term solution, right? Just teaching them how to be good digital citizens, making sure that they can still get to their work, but that's all they'll be able to get to. And then within a few days, you take them out and hopefully maybe they've learned some kind of lesson from that. So that's the penalty box. I think that is kind of a high level overview of all of our dashboard and what you'll be able to see. If anybody wants to unmute, if you guys need me to dive into something deeper, or I know that we went pretty quickly on this side of things because there's just a little bit more we want to share with you. Anything you have questions on, feel free. I'm happy to answer. And if not, we will hop over to one other thing. Go
So
ahead.
I know you stated that, because this is great questions, you stated that in the chat box, there were a lot of great questions. Just want to rehash. Did you say that you will share this information with us at a later date?
Yeah, so I'm going to share this whole recording, and then we'll make sure that all of the questions are answered as well. with this recording, with this right here, the slides, and the privacy policy, and anything else that the district is going to share with you. We'll make sure that everything gets shared with you, and with my contact information as well, so that you can, and I'll actually add my calendar and my phone number. So if you guys need anything in real time, you can reach out to us over here at GoGuardian. Other questions before I hop over to one other thing?
I do have a question.
Sure.
In reference to the penalty box, because at school, I guess there would be different penalties. But in reference to the penalty box, is it possible to just make that for everyone as far as only allowing the green sites? Because I think if everyone's allowed to do almost anything, that's where we're going to have our issue.
So that's a filtering thing, right? So that's making sure that the students have access. That's a district decision on how you guys are going to configure your filters. I believe, and Megan can come in and tell me that I'm wrong. I believe right now that the policy is just to remain constant with the current filtering, the way you currently have your other filters set up, to make sure that it is aligned. But Megan, any feedback, anything you want to say, feel free.
Yes, GoGuardian worked with our current filtering administrator to try to align this as best as possible. And if we find that we need to do further refinements, we can. Our concern is over filtering when they're away from us and not necessarily being able to do the work they need. It's a little bit harder when they're so remote, trying to make sure that they can get those. So I'm sure this is a new process for everybody, and we'll probably have to refine a little bit as we go along to either be more restrictive or less restrictive in certain areas.
And just to piggyback off of that, that's where this information is going to be helpful, right? So if you go in and you see for the day, let's see if I get some decent data. If you see that YouTube is the top hit today, right? And you go in and you see your top but the top video is a Kahoot video. So maybe it's not the biggest deal in the world. But if you go in and you see that it's Justin Bieber, right? And that the kids are distracted all day long. So then maybe the filtering gets tightened a little bit as needed. So that's one of the reasons this is really important information. And this is not for one day. I don't know why it's showing me more than one day. Other questions before I hop over to teacher for a minute? Feel free to unmute yourself. And
So, am I on?
yep.
Okay, so, just reading this morning about how other counties have already started their distance learning, and they've encountered some problems with students. One particular student visualizing a gun, another using inappropriate language or posting something inappropriate. Would you just throw that student out? How would those be approached through the GoGuardian?
So flags and smart alerts, you'll get the notifications, right? So you'll get a flag if a student got access in content that they were not supposed to access. It's not what you do with it is on the district side of things, right? The policies that you guys are going to decide on at the district level. But what we do is we alert you. So we'll give you all that information. So you'll see all the flags. So, that flagged activity, you'll see what it was, and you'll see, if you open it up, you'll see exactly who got there and when, right? So you have the tools to see it. You just have to hop in and see it. In terms of the explicit content, again, if you're assigned to it, you're going to actually get an alert to your email. And if not, it's going to sit on your dashboard for you to view at any given time. So my recommendation, I know you guys are super busy, but if you could log in, if there are two of you every other day, try and log in. If you have more time to check, or if you're concerned about a specific student, you can go in and you can search the actual student. It's up to you how you feel you want to manage it. Obviously, we can't tell you what to do, and your school and your students better than anybody else. And so, we're going to leave that in your hands. Megan, feel free to check me on that if I said anything that you don't agree with.
No, I think that's accurate. Like, you guys are doing the service to find the inappropriate content, and it's on us to decide what how that fits in with our policies and what our next steps are. And as we mentioned before, we are still waiting for guidance on what that looks like in a virtual world. What is the next step when you can't take away a device or suspend a student or those things? So, you know, as we learn, we'll definitely share that information with you. And Adi, there was another question about the penalty box. If there are certain students who are just consistent concerns, but we still want to afford them the opportunity to learn, can they be in the penalty box all the time?
They
Not all
can.
the students, but some.
Yeah, they can if that's something you wanted to. And we can talk more about this, but we can configure it so that there's a specific policy right in here where they're locked out of. You put them into a certain policy or a certain OU, and then they will be only allowed to. You might not want the 72 kids in there. You might want them in their own policy where they are just locked into whatever it is that you want them locked into. So absolutely, it's not the end of the world. We just say that because the idea is, and this is this is uncharted territories here. So in a school, when you're normally in the building and you can reach out and touch that student, right? You can deal with it a little bit differently, where we say, don't keep them in the penalty box for the rest of the school year. If it means that they're not learning otherwise, and that's the only way you're going to access them at this point, then you do what's best. It's not going to kick them out, is what it comes down to. Just, best practices, you know what to do. Other questions? And then I'm going to head over.
I think you can
Okay.
head over at this point.
Megan, do you want to say anything before I do? I'm going to talk a little bit about GoGuardian Teacher.
Sure. So again, we have access to this tool just for the sake of this distance learning component that we're going through. The piece that Adi is going to show us next is something that the teachers can use. However, that is sort of phase 2 of everything. Phase 1 of all of our training for teachers has been to give them the essentials that they need to effectively deliver their instruction online. After spring break, we'll have optional trainings for teachers who may find this useful, but this is definitely not something that we expect all teachers or any teachers to use. It would just be an extra tool in their tool belt, essentially, to help connect with and monitor their students. So just if you want to stay and see what the opportunities are for teachers, you're more than welcome to stay and see, and you may have some teachers who you think would find this useful. Again, after spring break, we'll share dates for optional training for teachers.
Thank you. And so again, just to reiterate, this is not a must do. So please don't feel like, and I don't want your teachers to feel like there's one more thing to do. But if you think that a teacher might find this useful, or you'd like to see more, I'm just gonna hop in and show you some highlights. I'm not going to dive in very deep right now because we have 15 minutes left and I want to just honor your time here. But GoGuardian Teacher is a tool that allows your teacher to manage their classroom in real time to support the students as they see fit. One of the things that is really exciting, especially that they're at home right now, is it gives the teachers some insight into what the students are doing as they're online. So I started a session here earlier, and what I'm seeing right here are my students' screens. So I'm seeing that Diane here is on Extra Math, Nancy's on Facebook, Jeff is Googling something about football, Marissa is getting to something that's blocked, right? So if I wanted to, I could select all of my students right here, and I can push out a tab to all of them. And this is really actually helpful, not only for getting the kids on task because they're off task, but I know like my kids, I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. Sometimes it takes them a really long time to type out URLs. So maybe we are going to just have the teacher just push out a URL that he or she wants them to go to. You open the tab and it's going to push it out to them. And you'll start to notice on the bottom that they're all headed over to Pear Deck, right? Because that's where I sent them. So just a really powerful tool for that in and of itself. You'll also be able to see what tabs they have open beyond that first tab under here, as you can see, or you can click in and you can see right here the actual student and what they're up to. So you'll see that they're on Pear Deck here, but if you look under their other tabs, they have Khan Academy open, and they have a monster truck, and they have the Bloody Mary hit list. So you might say, I'm going to close that. or I'm not really comfortable with them using Pear Deck right now. I want to deal with that later. I'm going to take a screenshot of it, and I'm going to close that out right now. You can push out a tab to an individual student if you wanted to. So if see, here we go. I don't like that he's going to monster trucks. I might want to take a screenshot of that too, right? And I'll handle it later. I'm just going to close it out for now. And then I'm going to send him to read an article on the New York Times. Whoops, I can't type anymore, sorry. And then that will send him there. Now, as I send him places, it does not mean that he's going to stay there. And so we have the ability to do that too, to give the teachers the ability to filter within the district filters, to have a little bit more control over what the students are doing while they're in their classroom. So I'll show you how to do that. But you can also lock their screen if you need to. So, you know, please stop if the student is like not paying attention. Whoops, please stop. If I lock his screen right now, he has no ability to browse, to go online, to see anything. You see right here, it's browsing disabled. He's going to get a message, whatever I said in that message, which was please stop. It'll have the teacher's name and go from there. Then we're going to go in and we're going to unlock it. Once I unlock it, he has the ability then to go back to wherever he was and to have access to it again. So anything I do for one student, I can do for multiple or all students. So if I click right here, again, open tab, lock device, unlock device, exclude from session. If a student is out sick, but you're still monitoring them, you can not monitor them just by clicking exclude session, and then they would no longer take, take note of what they're doing. Some of the other things that you can do is you could chat with your students. That's toggled off. You would just manually toggle it on. The chat is teacher-student, student-teacher only. You can also turn on audio alerts so that when a chat comes through, you can see what's going on and be notified. So you can chat from here, right, where I say like, hi there, and I can help them along if Bianca needed a little bit of help. Or I could chat right here with the students as well. That's another way to chat with them. I can also send announcements to the whole class. An announcement basically is just going to put an overlay on their screen with the announcement that I want to share with them. And when they have read it, they'll click a little button that says got it, and it will open up their screen again. So it's a good way to communicate with the students on a larger scale instead of just that. We also have something called off-task alerts. Our off-task alerts work for the 4 core areas right now. It's being built out some more, but you turn on your off-task alerts. You can just pull down what area you're teaching. So I'm teaching, let's just say I'm teaching science right now. And then I can decide how strict I want to be. So if I want to be lenient, it'll give the student 60 seconds to be off task before I'm notified. Strict is 15 seconds and moderate is 30. And you'll notice right here, you see how these are being highlighted in the background. That's showing me that these students, it seems like they're off task. This is really helpful right now if you're like using a Google Classroom and chatting on Hangouts or Zoom with your students. To have this in the background, you don't really need to know exactly what they're doing, right? Every single page. If you're seeing all of this off-task behavior, you might want to manage it somehow, and it's going to tell you who's off task, when, and for how long. So you'll have that ability too. That's a toggle. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. A few other things, I took some snapshots before. They're always going to sit here. You have the ability to download it or save it to a drive. If a teacher wants to, instead of seeing the screens, because it can be hard to see, although you can make them bigger, you can also see this on a timeline view. So it'll just give you, so if everybody is supposed to be on Pear Deck right now, and you're seeing all of this movement, you see this person's on Gmail, this person is now on Facebook, this person's on a Google Doc, all of this, you know that they're not on task. It doesn't really matter exactly where they are. The point is that they're not on task. And so you can actually go in and you can get them back on task by, again, pushing out tabs, locking devices, unlocking devices, all that sort of stuff. If you're not sure what it is that you're seeing, so if I don't know what this is right here, I can click on it and it'll tell me, oh, they're on time, but they also have 4 other tabs open that maybe they weren't supposed to have open. And so I can go in and I can close all of those out. 2 other things that I think are the most important maybe and most fun. Now you can run these sessions. It's recording the history, it's recording the chat, it will save it for the teacher. 2 of the things that I think are really things that the teachers really like are scenes. And the scenes are what I mentioned before, gives the teachers the ability to filter within the district filters. So the scene is going to say, you know what, let me just hop into this for a second. I have a ton of them. So if a teacher feels like they don't want the students to have access to certain URLs, this really works very well with students that teachers that are not that comfortable with technology. Actually, they can go in and they can put it on block mode. Block mode gives the teachers the ability to block everything that the students have access to, every URL. And then on this side, they would put the URLs that they want the students to access, right, during this period of time. They can also just pull some through here. And I'm not going to dive too deep into this, but I can at a later time because we only have a few more minutes. They also can limit the number of tabs that a student has open. And then they can also push open a URL as soon as they start the session. So as soon as the kids come in, maybe push them out to their Google Classroom or to a form to get started. And it doesn't matter if a kid's 5 minutes late, as soon as they open their device and log into the classroom, they're actually going to be pushed to the right place. And scenes can be reused over and over again. So it gives the teachers some ability to really keep the students on task, especially in this situation where you can't just go behind their desk and see what they're doing. It can really lock the students in. The opposite side of that is that you can open everything up and just say what you want to block. So if you only want to block Minecraft and Wikipedia and all of that sort of stuff, you can do that as well. But either way, it just gives you more control. The last thing that I'll quickly show you, and there's more to this obviously, but I want to honor your time here. So the last thing that I'm going to show you is just our student reports. So you can run individual student reports as a teacher. For the period of time that you have your students in your class. This is not meant to be an all-day thing, and you're only going to be able to run these classes during the school hours that are specified by the district, so you don't have to worry about that. If I want to run a report for the last 14 days of the class that I had with Bianca because I need to have a parent conference, or I need to just touch base with her because we haven't really been on the same page, or I want to show this to an administrator. This isn't giving me the information that I would love to see here. Let's see here. It will be able to run this report. So here you go. It gives you a little bit more information. It's going to show you the top 5 websites that she's been on and the amount of time she spent there, the top documents, the top 5 Google searches, any interventions that the teacher had to take. Did the teacher have to lock any screens? Push out tabs for her, close any tabs? Did she access or try to access any blocked sites? So 73 in the past 30 days. Any snapshots of inappropriate behavior or something that the teacher was concerned about, they're going to sit here too. And then you'll get a detailed browsing history of everywhere she went. So if you click on it, it'll take you to that exact page that she was on or he was on. In this case, it is Bianca, so it's a woman. So those are some of the highlights of what GoGuardian Teacher can do. It does much more, but I just kind of wanted to let you know, again, this is not mandatory. This is really a tool for teachers that want this support. We will provide, the teachers will have access to it. We will provide training. We have online training. I'm happy to do a full-on training similar to this to dive deep into the classes. We have a few minutes. Are there other questions, Megan?
Recap. Access will be limited to principals and your designees. So tomorrow, T3 will be sending an email to all principals to include a form where you can designate the specific people you would like to have access for your school. And somebody asked about your security personnel. If you would like them to have access, that's completely fine. And once we have the information submitted in the form, then we will associate those names with your school. At that point, using the link that will be placed on the staff portal, the administrators that you designated will be able to log in with their Prince George's County Public Schools credentials. So the same way you log into email will log you into this. And then you'll be able to navigate through your school information. So again, tomorrow we'll send an email with the recording of everything Adi just went through, along with additional resources and our form to collect that. So as far as teachers aware of this platform, I'm not sure if it's been in all the communications that have gone out. There's been so many, but we will make sure that it's clear to students, parents, and teachers, whether that comes through us or pushed through the schools, that monitoring is taking place to ensure that our students are being kept safe even when they are not with us.
Great. Anything else? Well, you guys are amazing for sitting and listening to me for the past hour. I really appreciate it. If there's anything you need, I will be sharing all my contact information. I don't hold any regular business hours, so feel free to reach out. I'm here to help. Stay safe, everyone, and thank you so much.